healthyliving.com. Today I'm going to show you a super simple salad. It's actually inspired from the Tuscan region of Italy, and we're making panzanella, which translates directly into Italian bread salad. So of course we have to start with bread. But I'm going to start by heating up 2 tablespoons of extra virgin olive oil. Now normally if you were making traditional panzanella, you would use that white, stale, kind of crusty bread that you get at restaurants. But that bread's not so healthy, so I'm going to use sprouted whole grain bread, which I need to toast. So starting with the 2 tablespoons extra virgin olive oil over about medium-high heat in a cast iron skillet. And I am using for the sprouted whole grain bread this Food for Life brand. The reason I love sprouted whole grain bread is it is flourless, so it has a very low GI index, but actually the process of sprouting actually releases all the vital nutrients that are stored within the whole grains. So sprouted bread is healthier than even whole wheat bread. Now I've already removed the crusts from 5 pieces of bread, and I'm going to put the crusts, because I don't want to waste them, in this little Ziploc bag, because later on I use these to make fresh breadcrumbs. And to do that, super simple, you add about a tablespoon of extra virgin olive oil, a little bit of garlic, and then whirl it around in a food processor. So I'm going to store those in the freezer. I'll do that later. Okay, so for right now I'm going to cut off the crust of this bread, just removing it like so. And then we're going to cut it into thirds. Whoops, I didn't get to put those crusts. We'll throw those out. Okay, so this we're going to cut like that, and then we're going to cut it down into thirds this way. And now we're going to add all this bread, because by now my skillet should be getting nice and hot. All this bread goes right into the skillet, the hot skillet. And then, to give it flavor, you want to also make sure you season your salt, and it's important to season the salt before it starts cooking. Season the bread with the salt before it starts cooking, because that's going to give it the most flavor. And I'm just using sea salt. Okay, so we're going to stir this up, and then we're going to let it toast for about 3 minutes. Okay, so now we have the toast. It's nice and toasty, crunchy, and just to make sure, you want to take a bite, and then you can hear it kind of crunch, and then you know it's done. Okay, so we're going to move this right over to the side, our little toast bites, and we're going to get started on the vinaigrette. Now for the vinaigrette, instead of using extra virgin olive oil, I'm using flaxseed oil. Make sure you get a really high quality brand. I like Barlean's, and then you always want to store your flax oil in the refrigerator. Now I'm going to use 1/4 of a cup of cold flaxseed oil. Flaxseed oil is great because it helps reduce inflammation, also even helps with fat burning. So that is good stuff. So we're putting 1/4 of a cup in there, and then we're going to add 2 tablespoons of balsamic vinegar, or red wine vinegar. You can use either one. Okay, we're going to do 2 tablespoons like that. 1, 2. And you know what? Making your own vinaigrettes is super easy and so much tastier than anything you'll find at the supermarket. So I highly recommend getting a few basic vinaigrette recipes and just kind of experimenting. And this is one that you can use for a lot of different salad recipes. Okay, so now we're going to do 1/4 of a teaspoon of raw honey. You want to make sure that you're always using raw honey, because that's where you're going to get the most nutritional benefits. And raw honey also has a lot of vitamins, but it also has enzymes. Enzymes are super good for you, very healthy. So we're going to put 1/4 of a teaspoon right in like that. And now we're going to do 1/2 teaspoon of Dijon mustard. So 1/2 teaspoon goes in. Okay, like that. Super simple. We're going to put a little bit of salt, and then we're going to add some garlic. And you don't have to be super exact when you're measuring the garlic, but I don't know, 3-4 cloves is good. You want to let your vinaigrette sit a while, but because we used flaxseed oil in this, we're going to want to make sure we refrigerate it if you're not going to be eating it immediately. And this will store in the refrigerator for 3 to 4 days as long as it's covered. Okay, so we're going to set that aside because we are going to use it briefly. Okay, now we're going to get started on the panzanella salad. So I'm going to get a nice big mixing bowl. I've already pre-cut up 4 tomatoes, and I found some beautiful yellow tomatoes. So I'm going to mix the yellow and the red together. I'm going to add these right into the bowl. So that's 4 tomatoes. You can do all yellow, you can do all red, doesn't matter. And one of the great things I love about panzanella is that you don't have to be exact about measuring this or that. It's very open to interpretation. So you could add the ingredients I'm doing, but you could also, for example, switch the basil that I'm going to use and use tarragon. Right now I'm going to use about a half of a chopped red onion. You can also use white, or you could even do shallots. That would be a good substitute. Okay, and then we're going to do this basil. But like I said, you could even substitute tarragon for this, or you could use arugula, which is great and adds a nice peppery flavor. So I'm just going to use kitchen shears and snip the basil right in there. And again, you do not have to measure. Probably this is about a half a cup, but you could even do a full cup because there's nothing wrong with basil salad. Same thing with arugula. You could do 2 cups even of arugula. Okay, so we're going to snip this right in, and look how pretty, and it smells amazing because of that basil. Okay, we're going to toss it a little bit just before we add the vinaigrette. Okay, now we're going to add in some green olives. You can also use black olives, doesn't matter. I got these from the olive bar. This is like, I don't know, about a cup of green olives. You could cut them, but if you don't want, you can just put them in their whole. Okay, now we're going to do about, this I plan on serving 4 people, but you want to do about an ounce of cheese per person. So that's a good way to figure. And I'm just using the fresh mozzarella. So I'm going to cut, this looks like about 4 ounces. So I'm going to kind of shred this up right in to the beautiful salad. And you could use goat cheese if you wanted. But you do want to make sure that you use a nice soft cheese, because especially when you add the vinaigrette, it's going to kind of seep right into the cheese, and it is delicious. And so we're going to add that, the rest right in. And you always want to make sure you season with a little bit of salt. People can add their own salt at the table, but salt really is what gives the food the flavor. So make sure you add just a little bit of salt and freshly ground black pepper. Like that. And now we are going to add our yummy vinaigrette. And you don't have to use the whole thing if you don't want. You can just kind of drizzle a little bit on top. And then we just toss it together. And for best results, you want to make sure you let this sit for about 15 minutes before you serve it. And that's going to help get the flavors to like kind of mix and marry. And here's the beautiful results. Okay, so that's what it looks like. Now we're going to let this, we're going to pretend that this sits for 15 minutes, and then just before serving is when you're going to add the bread. Because if you add the bread with the vinaigrette, it's going to get soggy, and we really want to make sure the bread is nice and toasty when you serve it. So now we're going to toss it together again, like so. And now I'll show you for the second time. Here it is. And you can get the full recipe at hotandhealthyliving.com. And always remember, healthy can be tasty too.